Good morning, everybody. Apologies. I call the February 25th, 2025 meeting of the DuPage County Board to order. I invite everyone to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Member Yu, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I now invite Pastor Scott Howington from Pleasant Hill Community Church in Wheaton to lead us in the invocation.
Good morning. The ancient and wise King Solomon once wrote, "Reckless words pierce like a sword, but the words of the wise bring healing." This past Friday, I was considering that wisdom, and I wrote a brief reflective poem, mainly for me, that I hope will be helpful for you. I entitled it, "Take a Breath." Before you speak, take a breath. Before sharing an opinion or an objection, before offering a compliment or a complaint, before saying something you may regret, take a breath. In that moment, consider who will hear. In that moment, consider the power of words. In that moment, consider the permanence of words. Take a breath. Remember to be humble because you may be wrong. Remember to be gentle because truth can be spoken with compassion. Remember that God and others are listening. Take a breath. Breathe in patience. Release annoyance. Breathe in cooperation. Release competition. Breathe in peace. Release discord. Before you speak, take a breath. And Heavenly Father, as we take a moment to breathe, we are grateful for each member of this board and each employee of DuPage County who works so hard every day on our behalf. May you bless this meeting and bless all the citizens of DuPage County today. Amen.
Okay. On the matter of public comment, according to County Board rules, members of the public, roll call, I'm sorry. I was late, so I was trying to hurry it up.
Member Cahill. Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert.
Here.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans.
Here.
Member Galassi. Member Garcia.
Here.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozog. Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Here.
And Member Zay.
Okay, now, on the matter of public comment, according to our county board rules, members of the public shall be afforded time to address the board. Individual remarks shall not exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time provided for all remarks exceed 30 minutes. Our first speaker is
Leanne Rice Ung.
Keith, can you turn the microphone on for Leanne, please?
I'll try again. Hi, I'm Leanne Rice on of Coal Queen, and I'm living with my husband, who is deaf. Has his social security income and Medicare. I have my Medicare. We are the clients of Department of Human Services in Naperville. We are living in a accordance with a full circle community apartment building. Is a housing equality and has our housing urban development program. And I'm very deeply unconstitutional concerning in Illinois and DuPage County and needs to be secured. I agree with Illinois Governor's principle. He is fighting for saving Illinois tax and this state. Sadly, 700,000 residents have lost health insurance because of President Donald Trump. I have been watching the media. So many people are really freaking out. And I'm so worried about myself and my family, the friends, the colleagues, and the people are very hungry for surviving. And I'm saying, I'm saying, Donald Trump must hang out or hold everywhere and everything now belong to him, and because he is still a criminal, he is very unacceptable in this illegal world. Thank you.
Member Rutledge.
May I? Thank you. Since Leanne's words were printed, may we ask her for a copy of that to submit it to the record so that we make sure we got every word of what she was trying to convey this morning?
Yep, take care of it. Okay. All right, if the board has received public comment via our online portal per board policy, those comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed. Comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. I apologize for the late start, but we rarely have a moment to pause, take a breath, and recognize a true hero. I don't know about your commute today, but please join me in recognizing the outstanding service and bravery displayed this morning by Emergency Management Director Craig Diekman, who probably will be hiding in the back. On his way to the Finance Committee meeting today, Craig witnessed a burning car on the side of the road on I-355 southbound between North Avenue and Roosevelt Road. Craig leapt out of his car and with a few other people pulled a driver from a burning vehicle. The victim was burned but conscious at the scene and was transported to the hospital for treatment. Good work, Craig. When you said hello to me this morning, you didn't have your cape on. I want to take just a few moments to express my appreciation to our county staff members who worked outdoors in the extreme cold we saw just last week and earlier this month. We appreciate what you do to keep our residents safe and to keep our campus and equipment running. And speaking of recent extreme cold, I checked in with April Rudzik, the executive director of DuPage Pads last week. She tells me, quoting here, "Thanks to the incredible support of the DuPage County Board and the DuPage Foundation, we've been able to serve a total of 124 people in 83 households with our emergency winter shelter program since we opened it in December of 2024. Those are the people who would have been sleeping in the cold until a bed opened up in the IHC. The individuals were safe during both of our polar vortexes because of this board and the DuPage Foundation. Thank you to Member Garcia for bringing this initiative forward, and thanks to the board members for supporting it." Okay, on to the consent agenda. I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Okay. All right, all in favor? Okay, 25-0607 DuPage County Board regular minutes, Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. 25-0508 2/7/2025 pay list, 25-0526 2/11/2025 pay list, 250532, 2/12/2025 polling place playlist, 250549, 2/13/2025 auto debit pay list, 250553, 12/14/2025 pay list, 250520, 2/10/2025 IDOR wire transfer, 250525, 2/10/2025 Corable wire transfer, 250509 Clerk's monthly report of receipts and disbursements, January 2025, 2025-0575 Treasurer's monthly report of investments and deposits, January 2025, 250513 Recorder's monthly revenue statement, January 2025, 250569 change orders to various contracts as specified in the attached packet. All in favor? Okay, and we'll move on to Vice Chair and County Board.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will entertain a motion to combine 8A through 8H.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay.
A through H? Wait. A through H. Okay.
A through H.
Okay.
I'll move on, CBR 1025, appointment of Jenna Fahey Heller to the Weed Control Superintendent. Appointment, CBR 1125, appointment of Juan Chavez to the DuPage Airport Authority. CBR 1225, appointment of Mike Ladone to the DuPage Airport Authority. CBR 1325, Mike Gresk to the Wheaton Sanitation District. CBR 1425, Rosalinda Campos to the West Chicago Mosquito Abatement District. CBR 1525, appointment of Donald Volts to West Chicago Mosquito Abatement District. CBR 1625, appointment of Mary Lou Hernandez as member of the Emergency Telephone Board System for 911. And finally, 1725, CBR 1725, the appointment of Jessica Robb as member of the Emergency Telephone Board System for 911.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozog. Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Childress. And on to Finance and Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. If no one saw the Finance Committee meeting this morning, I highly recommend you watch our presentations on the DCVB, on the great work they're doing, and also on our fee structure for GIS and the need there. So we had great discussion, and we'll be going forward on those. So moving ahead, I make a motion to approve FIR 004025, annual financial commitment in support of the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for fiscal year 2025, in the amount of $50,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozog. Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. And Member Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 004125, acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the DuPage Care Center Foundation Funded Projects Fund for the design and architectural services for the Secret Garden project in the amount of $16,766.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 004225, acceptance and appropriation of the DuPage Animal Friends Unrestricted Grant, Program Year 25, in the amount of $50,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion and to approve FIR 004325, acceptance and appropriation of DuPage Animal Friends Foundation Coordinator Grant, Program Year for $5,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 004425, additional appropriation for the 211 Illinois Program Grant, Program Year 25, in the amount of $44,972.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia. Did somebody say? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 004525, acceptance and appropriation of interest earned on investment for the DuPage Animal Friends Foundation Coordinator Program Year Grant in the amount of $43.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 004625, acceptance and appropriation of the income eligible retrofit program, Program Year 25 for the Weatherization Department, Company 5000, in the amount of $417,960.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 004725, approval of an amendment to Resolution FIR 001725 for a change to the Small Agency Grant Program.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 004825 as amended in the Finance Committee. Approval of funds for the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for the Hotel Transportation Grant Program in the amount of $50,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIP 000225, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Corbell Corporation for the third-party administrator services for Human Resources Department for the period of March 1st, 2025 through February 29th, 2028, for a contract total not to exceed $259,497.
Leave is granted. Thank you. Oh, did anybody? Okay. Thank you. Wake up, everybody. Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. Okay, Animal Services and Member Kajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one brief update. DuPage Animal Friends, of course, is the foundation that raises money for us at the county for the animal services. They're hosting that gala on April 25th, Friday night. But also, they have a little event Thursday night. They are working with all the GMEs in DuPage County, so that'd be Downers Grove, Naperville, Wheaton, and Elmhurst. So on Thursday, if anybody goes there and mentions DuPage Animal Friends, any of the GMEs, they will give 20% of the net proceeds back to DuPage Animal Friends, which again then supports the DuPage Animal Services. So if you're not doing anything Thursday, and it also applies to takeout order, you can look online, there's a code that you can give them if you want to do takeout. Thank you.
Okay, Development Member Tonatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DCP 1-25, a recommendation for approval of a contract to National Auto Fleet Group to furnish and deliver 3 2025 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend 4x4 vehicles for building and zoning for the period of February 25th, 2025 through November 8th, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $96,631.62.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Tornatori.
Aye.
Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert.
Aye.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozog. Member Rutledge. And Member Schwarzy.
Okay, thank you, Member Tonatori.
Thank you, Madam
Economic Development and Member Yu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to quickly congratulate Beth Marchetti and her staff at DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for their recent work with Frosty Faustings. Many of you may not know about the rise in esports and e-gaming. Frosty Faustings is one of the largest esports gaming competitions in the country with over 25 different versions of esports games played. This event has occurred in DuPage for several years, but due to tremendous growth in the sport, both at the high school and collegiate levels, it was planning to leave to find larger space. And DCVB stepped in to support the event with financial sponsorship and also sourced rooms in other hotels in Lombard, Westmont, Oakbrook, and Oakbrook Terrace to accommodate the growth. These efforts resulted in bringing in over 4,000 gamers to DuPage, which brought $2.2 million in economic impact to the county and 3,400 occupied hotel rooms during a cold Thursday to Sunday in January. which is a high-need time in the Chicagoland industry. DCVB is working to secure this event for next year, and shuttle transportation will definitely be needed to transport all the thousands of players between hotels and the airport. And I will just end by saying I'm so grateful for the support of the board to fund the hotel transportation program. And so now I just move on EDR 1-25, DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau designation of representation for grant purposes.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Zay, Member Cahill, Member Childress,
Yes.
Member Covert,
Aye.
Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, Member Rutledge, Member Schwarzy, and Member Tornatori.
Okay. Thank you, Member Yu. Moving on to Environment, and Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. No report.
I like the way you looked at the back row. Okay. Thank you, Member Rutledge. Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to remind this board that our Small Human Services Grant is still open. It closes, the portal closes on April 4th. So if you have organizations that you want to apply, make sure you talk to them. And Madam Chair, I'd also like to invite you and this board to attend our Human Services Committee on March 4th, I believe is our next meeting. The Executive Director of the Northern Illinois Food Bank, Julie Yurko, will be there to give us a presentation, our committee a presentation on how our produce food program has been going over the last few years and what kind of steps we may need to take in the future. Food is still a huge issue throughout DuPage County, so I'd like to see everyone there. Thank you. And then I will move on item HSR 525, recommendation to direct community services block grant loan proceeds from expiring programs to DuPage Social Services Association, a 501c3 organization's funds to be utilized for direct client assistance.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Schwarzy,
Aye.
Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Zay, Member Cahill, Member Childress, Member Covert, Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, and Member Rutledge.
Okay. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSR 625, recommendation of approval of a first modification to Community Development Block Grant Agreement with People's Resource Center Homelessness Prevention Program, clarifying eligible reimbursable direct service staff and adding 3 direct service staff titles to the project scope.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSR 725, recommendation of approval of a first modification to Community Development Block Grant Agreement with Catholic Charities, Diocese of Joliet, Home TBRA, Rapid Rehousing Case Management, adding eligible reimbursement costs of 1 additional direct service staff to the project scope.
Okay. Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1125, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Advocare Systems for rental of medical equipment, beds, and mattresses for the DuPage Care Center for the period of March 1st, 2025 through February 28th, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $80,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 1225, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Alco Sales and Services Company to furnish and deliver Elite X long-term beds for the DuPage Care Center for the period February 26, 2025 through February 25th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $109,192.16.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
And thank you. And I finally move on item 250535, HSP 18A24, amendment to HSP 1824, contract purchase order issued to Nova Staff Healthcare Services for supplemental nursing staffing for the period April 13th, 2024 through April 12th, 2025 to increase encumbrance in the amount of $65,000, resulting in a new amended contract of $565,000, a 13% increase.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. Judicial and Public Safety and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No update today.
Thank you. Legislative and Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to invite everyone to the legislative committee meeting. We will be meeting just following this meeting, the county board meeting, and we're going to adopt the county's 2025 federal legislative program, so you all are invited. Thank you.
Okay, Public Works and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A reminder, next week there'll be a special call of the Public Works Committee on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025 at 1 p.m. in the room 3500B for the presentation and focus group of the 2100 Heritage Gallery Replacement Project. In addition to the Public Works Committee members, all county board members are invited to participate in the discussion that will follow the presentation. If a board member cannot physically attend the special call, they may also participate in the discussion via Zoom or watch the meeting afterwards on the county's YouTube and still participate in the public online survey. With that, I'd like to move on. PWP 225 recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Peterbilt, Illinois, Joliet, doing business as JX Truck Center for a new day cab for hauling sludge and leachate for processing at Woodridge Green Valley Waste Management Treatment Plant for a period of February 2025 to November 30, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $173,876.99.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozog. Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on. FMP 425, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to National Auto Fleet Group for one 2025 Ford Transit cargo van for facilities management for the period of February 25, 2025 to November 8, 2025 for a total contract amount not to exceed $60,453.28.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you. I'd like to move on FMP 525, recommendation for the approval of contract order to National Auto Fleet Group for 2025 Ford F-50 Super Cab for facilities management for the period of February 2025 through November 8 for a total contract not to exceed $44,132.46.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
All right, I'd like to move on FMP 625, recommendation for the approval of contract purchase order to National Auto Fleet Group for a 2025 Ford F-50 truck for facilities management for a period of February 25, 2025 to November 8, 2025 for a contract total amount not to exceed $39,934.14.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on FMP 725, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Royal Pipe and Supply Company to furnish and deliver plumbing supplies for specified manufacturing as needed for county facilities for the period of February 26, 2025 through February 25, 2027 for a total contract amount not to exceed $180,000.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on FMP 825, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Petroleum Traders Corp. To furnish and deliver off-road diesel fuel as needed for the power plant and standby power facility for a period of April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026 for facilities management for a contract total not to exceed $101,000.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on FMP 925, recommendation for the approval of contract to Gerke Technology Group to furnish and deliver water treatment chemicals as needed for campus facilities for facilities management for a period of March 23, 2025 through March 22nd, 2026, for a total contract amount not to exceed $60,000.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
And finally, I'd like to move on FMP 1025, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Midwest Applied Solutions, Inc. to provide ionized tubes supplies for the HVAC cleaning system facility management for a period of February 26, 2025 through November 30, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $45,979.43.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress. Stormwater and Members A.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee update. Just wanted to thank our director, Sarah Hunt, and their staff. We had a great green infrastructure seminar last week for many of the communities. It's part of our Clean Water Act process that we have to go through. I want to thank Member Evans for coming. We had over 130 people attended from local municipalities and townships. We had speakers from Lake County and the Illinois EPA. And I really want to thank Mary Beth Falsey, who one of our speakers was sick with the flu. She stepped up with about 15 minutes notice and did a great presentation on our new detention pond program, and I want to thank her for doing that, putting her on the spot. But again, thank the staff for their, again, professionalism and a great job they did working with our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Members A. Technology and Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on 25-0488, recommendation for the approval of contract purchase order to McKinney Systems, Inc. for annual software licensing and maintenance for JESQ for printers utility for information technology for the period of April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026 for a total contract amount of $23,630, not suitable for competitive bid.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Covert.
Aye.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Ozog. Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill, and Member Childress.
Yes.
Okay. Member Covert.
Thank you. I move on 25-0492, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Luminex Software, Inc. for maintenance of the virtual tape server for information technology for the period of April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026 for a total contract amount of $26,254.94, not suitable for competitive bid.
Okay. Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Covert. Okay. Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I want to say thank you to all of our DDOT crews who have been out in the snow and the awful cold, and this weather this week is giving us a respite and maybe some hope. We do know spring will come, so sooner than later would be fine. But thank you, all of you. I now move for approval of DTR 000125, an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network, providing for membership in the IPWMA network. County annual fee $500.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Ozog.
Yes.
Member Rutledge. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. And Member LaPlante.
Okay. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 001225. Recommendation for the approval of a contract to National Auto Fleet Group to furnish and deliver one Ford Expedition for the Division of Transportation for the period of February 25, 2025 through November 8, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $65,216.88.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Pardon me. I have the Chicago illness. Okay. I move for approval of DTP 0192A19, amendment to resolution DTP 019219 issued to Farnsworth Group Incorporated for professional traffic signal design engineering services for various locations to decrease the funding in the amount of $64,524.32 and close, resulting in a final county cost of $335,475.68.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Sorry. Move for approval of DTP 0337A19, amendment to resolution DTP 033719 issued to Atlas Engineering Group for professional preliminary design engineering services for various locations to decrease the funding in the amount of $56,471.66 and close, resulting in a final county cost of $193,528.34, a decrease of 22.59%.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 0193E18, amendment to resolution DTP 0193D18 issued to BLA Incorporated for professional design, Phase 2, engineering services for improvements along County Highway 9 Lamont Road from 83rd Street to 87th Street to increase the funding by the amount of $54,999.18, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $613,110.37, an increase of 9.85%, and a cumulative increase of 38.89%.
Okay, leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog. Okay. On to old business. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, I voted against extending our public participation. A couple of years ago, we made a rule that we have 30-minute public participation and 3 minutes per speaker. And that was done, if any of you were on the board in 2019, 2020, we had numerous meetings where we would go until perhaps 3, 4 o'clock, 2 and 3 hours of public participation. And our rules were changed a few years ago to 30 minutes and 3 minutes per speaker. We also agreed at that time that we would have participation electronically given to every board member the day before the meeting so everyone can read it, and that's what happened last week. So I would like to discuss the idea, and I think we'll have to go through the rules process, but I'd like to discuss the idea of increasing the time to 60 minutes. I voted against extending the time last week because it's our rule, and I think we should follow our rules, and the time could have been extended 30 minutes, the next thing you'd be here at 3 or 4 o'clock, and I do understand everyone's need to be heard, but we have provided for that electronically. But I think extending it to 60 minutes would cover when we do have a situation like last week, which is not that often these days, and I think it would be a good discussion to open. I don't believe I can make a motion right now, but thank you. But I would like to open this discussion and go through our rules process and extend it to 60 minutes, which would then allow the public to speak for that period of time. And I think that it would definitely give more public participation, but also still respect the time of our senior staff who, during those meetings a few years ago, were sitting here for 3 and 4 hours, and also respect the board's time and allow everyone to have a little bit more time, but not an excessive amount of time. Thank you.
Okay, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and a great idea, because I went through the process and talked to the Chair of Finance. All rules go through the Finance Committee, and I did talk to her at the meeting about extending it 60 minutes, so I'm glad to see there's some cooperation here. You know, what we're talking about last week now, or 2 weeks ago, I had several members of the board ask me why I submitted public comment online and not try to do it on the board floor. Honestly, what happened last week, we had friends and family of the Hyde family that wanted the editorials of the Herald and the Wall Street Journal and of the Daily Herald put into the record. And I'll be honest with you, and the Trib, I'd be honest with you, if I brought it forward to this board and made that motion, I don't think it would pass. So the only way I thought fair for the family to make sure it was on there, for myself to put in as a private citizen and to have it put in online so it would be part of the record. You know, I'm troubled with, we've gone through a lot on this board, and a lot of these board members have been around forever, and I remember times where we almost crucified a person for liking something on Facebook. One of my board members, one of my friends, Sean Noonan. But what bothers me is that what was going on and what people were saying Henry Hyde and Henry Hyde's family didn't deserve what's been going on. People have been calling him a racist online, have been saying other things. Leaders of the other party have been calling him a racist and other remarks. And I'm going to stand up for my friend Henry Hyde because he was none of that. And, you know, what bothers me is that we have people that make comments, and there used to be, you know, discussion, and we used to bring it on the floor by some board members, but there's none right now. Again, people talk about let's getting back to the work of the people. My colleagues and I on the Republican side did not bring this up. Did not bring it up. It wasn't a priority to us. We were doing the work of the people. And that's what bothers me. When we cut public comment off, which we've had in times, extended, when we've had people sitting there and not letting them speak, was an injustice. Was not good. And that's fine. And those people voted for him, and they can try to spin it whatever they want. But I have problems when people say he was not a good person and pointing to personal indiscretions. You know what? If we do that about one person, probably you didn't know, then you open that up to every elected official and every elected official in this room. So we're going to hold everybody to those same standards that you bring it up, which we should, or you're hypocritical at that point. You know, I also worried about the rhetoric of, I saw a lot of old white guys and middle-aged white guys. I mean, have we gotten to that point? I respect all of you on this board floor. I have served with, I can't tell you how many women on this board floor over my 25 years. In District 6, for over 10 years, I served with 2 women, Pam Ryan and Linda Kurzweil on the board. We got along well, we worked well together. So I hope we're not starting this kind of, you know, gender thing, because I don't think there's any need for it. And again, you know, getting back to that, you know, Henry Hyde was a man of principle. I mean, the Sun-Times said, you know, a statesman who could find common ground and didn't always agree with people. I can't help that David Axelrod, a senior advisor for President Obama, disagreed with Henry Hyde, but he was an honorable man. Again, I hope we can get this rhetoric down, and what was done, but I hope we do move forward. But I also hope as we move forward, we hold each other to the same standards that we put this poor man and his family through over the last month. Thank you very much.
Member Krajewski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I didn't really want to talk about this today, but since it's back up on the floor, yes, our board rules do say 3 minutes and 30 minutes total, and we can vote to change that. The first speaker up was a member of the Hyde family, and he spoke way past the 3-minute, which is our board rule, and the chair gave him deference, rightfully so. I would have done that same thing, but by doing that, you also cut off 2 more people had we followed our board rules to get 3 minutes to speak. Member Zay brought up 30-minute extension, which I felt was appropriate and voted for it. It wasn't going to be here all day, which we've done that in the past, done it 2 or 3 in the afternoon, but an extra 30 minutes for all the people that came out here. Had we followed our board rules to the T, that first member would not have got more than 3 minutes, and there would have been the ability for 2 more people to speak. So again, I think we should have extended that time. We didn't follow the rules completely, because we did allow the first speaker to go, I think it was 8.5 to 9 minutes, which excluded 2 more people who could have if we followed our rules to the T. Thank you.
Okay. As a brief response to Member Zay's referring to something I wrote, I would simply like to say that I have never disparaged the congressman, nor would I, but I did make a comment stating that 15 years ago, when his name went up on the county courthouse, no one, including myself, ever thought DuPage would be anything but red. And having been the first Democrat in DuPage County, I made mention of the fact that every room I walked in for many years was filled with white, middle-aged Republican men, which is a point to make that things have drastically changed in DuPage, and I'm incredibly proud of the diversity of this board, and I will never, ever back down from saying that.
Point of order.
Excuse me, I haven't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have not gone on any news show to go, particularly a far right wing, and go fully MAGA over all of this, like one of the board members here did. I have been as respectful as possible, including asking all of my board members to be the same. Now, what would you like to say, Members A?
Yeah. Point of order, Madam Chair. Again, I did not bring your name up. It was comments in the paper.
But.
No, that was on my Facebook page and never in the
That's-
paper.
That's fine, in your Facebook page, but I didn't bring your name up specifically. In the future, if we're gonna follow the rules, and we're gonna follow Robert's Rules of Order, we can't, you and I cannot engage in debate. The other day, you engaged Member Tornatori. You chair the meeting. If you want to engage in debate with us on the floor, you have to relinquish the chair and go to the podium. That is Robert's Rules of Order. So
Okay,
again,
Member
you did it
Zay,
the other
as
day.
the chair, I can make a comment, and
But
that's
you
what
weren't
I
making a
did.
comment. You were making
I
a
was
statement,
only-
and you were
only if-
debating me back and forth.
Oh, no, I made a statement about something you said in reference to me. We both knew what that was. Okay, Member
But
Ozog.
I never made a reference to that, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. I apologize for making the reference to the fact that Member Zay went on a MAGA show and went full MAGA over this. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we're going to talk about referring to people, the DuPage County Republicans referred to Deb Conroy and her squadron of woke half-wits. So if we want to take the tone down, Mr. Zay, that was the party that you were running until a couple of months ago. I personally have heard from many people over the almost 7 years I've been on this board that they never wanted Henry Hyde's name on this building. And I made the point that it shouldn't have happened in the first place and that it should be a neutral building, our courthouse. That's our choice. And that's the choice that we made last week. So if you want to take the tone down, perhaps it can happen starting right now. I've never been called a half-wit nitwit or whatever you care to refer to me as. We had our reasons, and if you looked at the online public participation last week, there was a majority of people who wanted the name off the building. So that is something that has been discussed. Just because you have not heard it does not mean that the sentiment is not out there. So we can carry on and be respectful, and I think that extending our time to 60 minutes would allow people to have a longer period if there is an issue of controversy. But to carry on here, we did something that many of us had been talking about or thinking about or hearing from constituents about for a long time. And in no way did I ever disparage Henry Hyde, but I never thought his name should have been on the building in the first place, and nobody's name should be on it. And that's my position, and obviously the board agreed. And as for when I first started on this board, right before we started on this board, there were 4 women and 14 men. So we are only slowly moving toward even any close equal representation for women, and we are more than half the population. So change is afoot, and that's what we've represented, that a lot of people wanted this building to have no name at all. Thank you.
Yes, I would comment that I have lost track of counting the amount of names I have been called. I have had my life threatened, and every one of the Republicans in this room stood by while there was a lie told about me, and I lived with police protection for an entire year. If anyone would like to know what my family and my staff went through while you all sat silent, I'd be more than happy to share that with you. I can tell you right now, I will never stand by while anyone's life is threatened for any reason, particularly over a lie. That will never happen. When I came into this job, respecting each and every one of you and working incredibly bipartisanly. I will continue to do that. If your definition of bipartisanship is the minority party agrees 100% of the time with what the majority leader does, then you and I have a different definition of bipartisanship. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, a point of order, because as one of the members mentioned my name, and again, maybe you should learn that so I won't continue to talk. But again, why are we worried about social media? I know that many members of this on this board are really worried about social media. Again, you're not saying that why did they call him a racist at that point? Why did people say about his indiscretion, say, I remember that, and do that? Again, now that you have to hold that up to everybody, every elected official. That's what we're talking about. It's a very slippery slope when you go there. And again, we can continue, but again, until this went on the agenda, the time I've been here, we never got any information about taking his name off. Maybe you did personally.
Hold on. Point of order, Member Zay. I told you about it a year ago. And I have the text to prove it.
I'm not saying you, Madam Chair, and I didn't bring your name up. I'm saying the public, the public. We sat on this board through Judicial Public Safety, through any of our emails. I don't remember ever receiving one, and I don't think my colleagues have. So I don't know what that is, but again, this was obviously someone's idea, not only taking Representative Hyde's name down, moving the pictures of the Supreme Court justices in the Judicial building. It just seems like a trend, and I hope we can get back to the business of the county and doing that. And again, you're very upset. This isn't personal. This is what happens in politics. I've been in politics a long time, and don't think I don't get threatened. People have said things. I can't worry about what people say about me online or leave me text messages or anything else, because I tell you, then I wouldn't do that.
Okay,
at
okay,
that point.
enough. You don't want to go there. Member Honig.
I was going to refrain from saying anything. I just feel that if we're going to talk about holding people to the standards of which Chair Conroy was talking about, or holding any elected official accountable, I would suggest that standing idly by while absolutely hateful, disgusting comments are made online to one party, especially if all of the Democrat side county board members were not referenced by name, it still affects all of us. And standing idly by while these absolutely hateful comments are, dredged upon us, I think there is an obligation to then fight back against that and say that we as a board made a decision, we stand by it, and we move on. And from our side, we aren't talking about this anymore. This is something that has been dragged and dragged and dragged by a specific set of people on social media over and over, and I cannot tell you how many comments I have read that are absolutely not only unprofessional, but are hateful. And, as someone who, acts with professionalism, as we all do on this board, I think it is fair to say that when we move forward, that we have to acknowledge that these things that people say do affect everyone on this board. And I understand this is a very hot topic. This is this was, covered by different, reporting agencies, different papers. But at the end of the day, like, we're a board. We need to continue to be that board. And, I view bipartisanship is working with each and every one of you to solve the issues of the everyday person here in DuPage County. And the more and more we bring this up, the more we fuel this hateful rhetoric online that we see. And it is a direct result of what has happened last week. And I understand that people are upset and they have these very, very passionate views of everything that happened last week. But I think to move forward, we have to not only hold ourselves to that standard, but sitting idly by while these things happen is also just as worse as being complicit in that. So I think that we need to call it out as it is, and we need to make sure that we really, self-reflect and go forward in a way that is productive for everyone. And, I respect every one of you on this board, and I hope I would get that same respect from all of you, whatever decision we made last week. So that's all I have. Thank you, Chair Conroy.
Okay, anybody else? Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really feel like this must be what my kids felt like when their father and I divorced. This is very awkward for us, especially us, the newer members. I've been here 2 years now. I really think that if we are going to talk about moving on, we need to move on. So we can all move on. We can all be civil with each other. But, I think we didn't really even need to bring up the discussion of the extension of the time today. We can all move on. I'm fine with extending the time, but I think there is discretion on the part of the chair, right? I mean, do we have to change the rule, or can we still extend the time? I don't know what the
board
rules
has
are.
to vote on it.
The what?
We voted on it last week.
Right. Oh, we voted on, okay. But I'm just saying that I think we can also, is it up to the discretion of the chair also? That we can do that if we wanted to.
It's really supposed to be the board from the state's attorney said.
Okay, well, then we can talk about it now, but I mean, this is obviously just turning into Festivus, And I think to preserve the bipartisanship on the board, I feel like it's been fractured already. So if we really want to move on, we really should move on and maybe stop engaging on social media as well. Thank you.
Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. I'd like to propose that as part of that extension to our time, that the electronic public comments could be read into the record up to that time limit. I know that, sometimes we have a lot of those and the time limit would cut that off. But when we have just a couple of public comments electronically submitted, yes, they go into the record, but I would like to see that brought back to our board floor as well. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, because I don't know the answer? When you started doing the online, was that something you always did, or was
No.
that just during COVID?
COVID.
So perhaps the board might want to consider ending that, because I would say, and I did tell a couple Republicans 2 weeks ago, I know sometimes people want to read them, and there were some not what I would consider respectful comments that were in there. So perhaps we could tap that tone down. And the rare times we have some contentious issues, which is very seldom. I don't know how the board feels about that. Member Kajewski.
I know in the past, we used to get them from all over the country. When you had a hot issue, we'd have all these people from all over the country sending written comments in to read. Or in Cook County, they didn't even live in DuPage, but they had to read them in. So I'd be definitely against that, because anytime somebody puts out something, I'm not on social media, so I miss all the drama everybody reads about, so I don't even have a Facebook page, so I'm not sure what everybody references, because I don't get to see that. But again, they just put a call out, and it's the same thing in local politics. I can tell you, in the village of Downers Grove a few years ago, when they were working to ban the sale of puppy mill dogs, next thing you know, the puppy mill industry around the country flooded the council members' emails with support letters and are not doing it, but they came from all over the country. And people on the board are like, I don't even know this person. They're not even here. They know some of their residents when they get them. We got 1 million people in this county, but again, we got an awful lot of written comments that came in from all over the country, depending what the issue was.
Well, and I have, pardon? Yeah, so I would say if we want to do it as a discussion item, I have no skin in that game. I'm simply saying if we cut off stop doing that, extend it an hour, whatever is the pleasure of the board, maybe we should keep it top of mind. What would be the best path forward? Member Colbert and then Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree. I don't feel comfortable with anybody and everybody sending in public comments and read into the record, because as you said.
No, absolutely not
Yeah.
read into the record.
Yeah,
It's read
'cause-
into the record, but not at the board meeting.
Right, exactly.
No, absolutely not.
Exactly, because there have been pretty, offensive things in there. And the thing is, when people come in to do public comment, it's different when they are here as opposed to just typing it out behind a screen.
Yes, it is.
I'd rather have them here and speak and face the board and say what they need to say. So.
Okay, Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say, since the public comment conversation has been brought up today, that I do want to be clear that I think there's a very different level of commitment if somebody comes here to speak versus typing it into electronic public comment. And for that reason, I was very disappointed that we did not extend that time for the people who potentially took off work to come and to speak to us. If they had known they were going to get cut off, they could have submitted an electronic comment, but they didn't know that that was going to be the case. So they didn't have their voice heard at all. So, as far as my perception of whether we should extend it to an hour for every meeting, I don't think that's necessary. I think as a board, if there's a contentious topic that people took the time to come and speak about, that at that point, we can take the vote. And our vote signifies whether or not we think their voices should be heard. And so I don't see the reason to extend or change the rule to an hour. I think letting the board decide, do we want to allow the people that took the time to drive here to be heard? We take the vote on that. And those people heard whether or not we thought their voices mattered. So I think we leave it at 30 minutes and we take the vote and signify to our constituents, how we feel about their voices. Thank you.
Okay, Member Dessert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two comments. One comment is about the member who said that I don't think it's appropriate to bring this up. It's appropriate. We're 19 elected officials on this board, and it's appropriate to bring up whatever any of us want to talk about. So that was kind of off-putting that board member said, I don't think we should talk. We could talk about anything we want on old business and new business. All right, the second thing I wanted to bring up, and I bring this up every time we talk about public comment, is that if we hold it to 30 minutes and we hold people to 3 minutes, we could get a couple of other people to speak during public comment. My point is that Naperville City Council has an amazing system, which I really appreciate. Our rules, if we didn't have rules, we would have chaos, right? So our rules right now are 30 minutes and 3 minutes per person. Naperville City Council, at 3 minutes, they cut off the mic. You're warned, you have 5 seconds left. And unless you wrap it up after 5 seconds, your mic is cut off. And I think that we should not allow people to go past 3 minutes because, again, that hurts the other people in line who want to speak. And like I said, it could give people, a couple of extra people time to speak during the 30 minutes if we cut off their mic at 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. And I will never apologize for respecting the congressman's son and giving him extra time. I guess I will apologize for not being quick enough on my feet with math and subtracting the extra minutes and adding it to other speakers. So I do apologize for that. Member Ozog.
Okay, I want to, first of all, comment. In my time on the school board, and don't ring the bell, it's rude. In my time on the school board, I sat through numerous meetings with many parents, 4 and 5 hours of public participation. And to be honest, that's not fair to the staff. It's not really fair to the board members because you're hearing the same thing. And on top of that, your risk of having a meeting turn unruly is very high. You've got a lot of temperament, etc. So by extending our time to 60 minutes, we would have had more speakers last week. But last week, we probably had, 50, 60 people here. So the next thing that would have happened was extended another 30 minutes, expended another 30 minutes, and the next thing we would have been here for 3 or 4 hours. And I don't believe that's efficient. And I also think that especially in these charged times, we need to keep our meetings in order, and that's why we have rules. So extending it to 60 minutes gives us the opportunity, if there is an issue like this, to be able to accommodate more people. But by keeping the electronic input, and we debated all of this a couple of years ago, we did not have electronic input, I believe, before COVID. That was instituted around middle of 2020 when we were on complete e-meetings, or Zoom meetings. So by keeping the electronic, we do see what the constituents are thinking, those who are motivated, and we also are able to accommodate, what would we be looking at, 20 speakers. So we've heard their point of view. And I think that having these rules is reasonable. And opening this discussion has nothing to do with Festivus. I really resent that kind of disrespect because it's important to keep these rules. We are a democracy and we do run by the rules, and we run by the rules that we've made. So I hope that we can open this discussion in finance and adjust our rules to 60 minutes. And when we do have an issue, which is not that often, we will have accommodated at least 20 people. Thank you.
Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. I really think we should really think clearly about perhaps going to an hour. It's very rarely that we have a contentious event here that we have a lot of public speakers. But I'm also with the opinion that if we do, we should cut off the public comment written in, and absolutely not should we have it read out, because the reason we cut it off last time is because it was a horrible experience for our staff members who had to read it. I will not do that to our staff members again. They're saying terrible things about people they work with, and I would not put them in that position again, and that is why we actually made that decision a couple of years back again. So I really am totally in favor of perhaps that compromise to where we can actually fit it. And just one more comment when people say, let's get back to the work of the people. That meeting that we did that one thing in, we also put $250,000 to the museum. We also put, over millions of dollars to floodplain. You know, we did all of this work during that meeting, and it seems like it's just scanned over, like that was the only thing we did during that county board meeting. And I just want to make sure that people know we are doing the business of the people. We are sitting here getting stuff done on it every single week. So it's just one decision. Some of us decided to do it. Some of us decided that it wasn't the right thing, and we're over it. We're done. And now let's move on, as everybody keeps saying, and let's continue to do the work. Thank you.
Okay, so it appears people want to make a decision, not now, about extending it to an hour. That's completely up to you as a board. And then also, potentially, if we extend it to an hour, not do the online comments anymore. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
No, we should keep the online.
You want to keep the online
Yes.
comments and extend it to an hour?
Yes. Yes.
I think there's differences of opinion. Member Kajewski.
I agree with Member Garcia. You know, I think she's, if I heard her right, said she didn't want to go to an hour, which I agree. We shouldn't go to an hour. But we have a rule that we can extend it if the board chooses. Correct, State's Attorney? I heard a yes over there.
Yes, correct. Yes, it's correct.
So we have a rule in place, and we can follow a rule by just extending it if we have those one or two instances. That's why, you know, I'm with Member Garcia that, well, but I think she just made a
Garcia
comment.
said the same thing.
She just said the same thing just a minute ago about not extending it, but in those rare situations, if we do have a lot of people that show up for whatever the issue is, we have a board rule that says we can vote to extend it, and then we can do the 30 or an extra 30 minutes.
Okay.
But I guess there is some debate, and we probably should have some committee look at it. Some people think 30, some think an hour.
We can do it as, in committee? Okay, we can do a discussion item in finance. And then I would say, if you feel strongly one way or another, then start talking to your board members and get the votes for whichever way you want to go.
Okay.
Okay?
Put it on
Okay,
finance.
let's go on to new business. Anybody have new business? Okay. Well, unfortunately, we will be here together a little longer. I'm informed that we do have matters before us requiring us to enter into executive session. I'll ask those not associated with the executive session to please exit the room. And I will take a motion to go into executive, pursuant to blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Member Kajewski. Okay, to establish once everybody's out of the room. Oh, roll call out of, yeah.
Member Cahill, Member Childress, Member Covert, Member Dessart, Member Dessart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, Member Rutledge, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu, and Member Zay.
But don't we have to take roll to go into? Okay, okay. Okay.